Hi, welcome 12th graders. This is Chapter 5, Section 2, What are the costs of production? Labor affects production. Well, obviously, you got to pay your people, right? Let's look at an individual producer and the costs involved in supplying goods to the market. Janine owns a small factory that produces custom blue jeans. The factory has 3 sewing machines, and when there are 3 workers, one day's product is 12 pairs of jeans. She wonders how hiring one more worker will affect production. The change in total production that results from hiring one more worker, remember our word for one more plus one is marginal. So the change, again, that sentence, the change in total product that results from hiring one more worker is called the marginal product. With 4 workers, the factory produces 19 pairs of jeans a day. So the new employee's marginal product is 7 pairs of jeans. So essentially it's saying how much more product do you make as you add each additional worker. With a 5th worker, output jumps from 19 to 29, a marginal product of 10. Why did marginal product increase? Each of Janine's original 3 workers had a sewing machine to operate, but they also had to cut cloth, package the finished jeans, and keep the shop clean. So Janine's employees only spent half their time sewing. The 4th employee helped with the other tasks, so marginal product increased. But the sewing machines were often still idle. The 5th worker allowed labor to be divided even more efficiently, which caused marginal product to increase markedly. Having each worker focus on one particular facet of production is called specialization. So a facet is like a piece of the production, doing one thing. And again, that is specialization. But does hiring more workers always cause marginal product to increase? Example on page 139, marginal product schedule. A marginal product schedule, remember where we find schedules on tables, shows the relationship between labor and marginal product. As you can see from Janine's marginal product schedule on figure 5.7, 1 or 2 workers produced very little, but marginal product was still slightly larger with each added worker. Then, with between 3 and 6 workers, the benefits of specialization become increasingly apparent. With up to 6 employees, Janine's operation experiences increasing returns, meaning each new worker adds more to total output than the last, as shown by the marginal product. So let's break that down and take a look. So look at table 5, guys. Or I'm sorry, table 7, 5.7. So when you go from 4 workers to 5 workers, the increase goes from 7. So when you added the 4th worker, they increased 7 pairs of jeans. The 5th worker increased 10 pair of jeans, okay? When you go to 6 workers, it increases 13 pair of jeans. And 13 is bigger than 10, is bigger than 7. That's not total product. That you see in the middle column. That is how many extra pair of jeans are created with the addition of each worker. Now, hang on. When you go from 6 to 7, you go from having 13 extra pair of jeans to only 11 extra pair of jeans. So something's going on there. So down below the chart, figure 5.7 shows that increasing returns stop with the 7th worker. This is also related to specialization. Workers 7, 8, 9, and 10 can still add to productivity, but their work overlaps with that of the first 6 workers. With between 7 and 10 employees, Janine's operation experiences diminishing returns. In other words, a return is a benefit. So you are still gaining, but you're gaining less each time. It is increasing less with each additional worker. As each worker, so we're after diminishing returns, which is highlighted in yellow, as each new worker causes total output to grow, but at a decreasing rate. With 11 workers, total output actually decreases, and Janine experiences something called negative returns. This may happen as employees become crowded and operations become disorganized. It is rare, however, for a business to hire so many workers that it has negative returns. Let's turn the page. Production costs. Key concepts. The goal of every business is to earn as much profit as possible. Profit is the money that businesses get from selling their products once the money it costs to make those products has been subtracted. Businesses have different kinds of costs. Fixed costs are expenses that the owners of a business must incur whether they produce nothing, a lot, or a little. Variable costs are business costs that vary as the level of production output changes. Businesses find the total cost of production by adding fixed and variable costs together. Finally, businesses are interested in knowing their marginal cost, or the additional cost of producing one more unit of their product. Example, fixed and variable costs. Janine's fixed costs include the mortgage on her factory. So let's take a stop there for a second. You guys probably are familiar with mortgages as maybe being something that adults, a type of loan that adults get when they buy a house, but you also would get a mortgage on any large piece of property. It's just a large property loan. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of that. Janine's fixed costs include the mortgage on her factory, her insurance, and the utilities that are on even when the factory is closed at night and on weekends. Again, I want to break that up a little bit. So mortgage is the loan that she has to pay. That doesn't change month to month. Insurance generally does not change unless, if her insurance went up, if there were a lot of accidents or something, I suppose that could go up. But it's not necessary. It's not connected to the amount of product that she's making. And utilities are things like electric. Now, what that's saying is you're going to have a certain electric bill regardless of whether you're making anything in there or not, okay? These costs are the same whether she is producing no jeans, 3 pairs, or 42 pairs of jeans per day. She must also pay the salaries of managers who keep the company running but are not directly involved in production. Wages are one of Janine's chief variable costs. So just to let you know, there are salaried workers who are on salary, and that tends to be management, and workers who are hourly. So your salary for your managers would not change. What would change is the amount that you would pay hourly, people that come in and get paid by the hour. Okay. As she hires additional workers to increase the level of production, her costs for wages increase. She also incurs or adds on additional costs for more fabric, thread, zippers, and buttons, as well as increased electricity costs to run the machines and light the factory. So those things like the fabric and the thread and the zippers, those are raw materials. And the more you produce, the more raw materials you're going to use. Shipping her jeans to customers is another variable cost. The more pair of jeans that Janine's factory produces, the more her variable costs increase. Conversely, which means on the other hand, if she decides to cut back the hours or the number of workers, or if she closes the factory for a week's vacation, her variable costs decrease. To determine the total cost to produce a certain number of pair of jeans, Janine can add her fixed and variable costs. By figuring out her marginal cost, she can determine what it costs to produce each additional pair of jeans. And if we go back up to the quick reference, we remember that marginal cost is the extra cost of producing one more unit. And then let's finish up page 141. Okay. Example, production cost schedule. And remember that schedules appear on tables. By looking at figure 5.8, we can see Janine's costs and how they change as her quantity of jeans produced changes. Remember that her total product increased through the addition of the 10th worker and declined after the 11th worker was added. The change in the number of workers is a major factor in the increase in variable costs at each quantity. You'll notice that the fixed costs remain the same no matter what the total output amounts to. And if you look over on the Connect to Math, to determine the marginal cost, divide the change in total cost by the change in total product. Down below the table, marginal cost is determined by dividing the change in total cost by the change in total product. Notice in figure 5.8 that the marginal cost declines at first and then increases. The initial decline occurs because of increasing worker efficiency due to specialization. After that, the marginal cost increases because of diminishing returns. Janine now knows when her returns are increasing or diminishing and what it costs her to produce each additional pair of jeans. Her next step is to figure out her revenue, the money she makes from selling jeans at each level of production. So I will take a break here and read back through it if you so choose. And I guess let me know if you have any questions. You can either make a comment on here or email me a question.